Hey there, this is Simone and I'm the Zen Mommy. I help people with spiritual awakening and ascension and guiding you through the healing of the mind, body, and soul. If you're new to my channel, I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for subscribing. And if you're watching my channel or one of my videos for the first time, be sure to click subscribe, and the bell button will remind you every time I release a new video. Now today I didn't really have a subject, and my last subject was about the sacred plant. And one thing I noticed is I like to do it and meditate. And the past week at night seems to have been the only time that I could really meditate because my son hasn't been really taking a nap. So when I started to smoke, I started to like get all of these ideas and downloads and these subject ideas, and I'm pretty much like playing out the video in my head, and I'm like, why don't I have a camera right now? So I decided I'm gonna smoke during this video and see if that happens here and it makes me channeling differently. If it doesn't work out, I won't even upload it, and you'll never know that I attempted such a feat. So my subject is, oh, I don't have a subject, right? Okay. Let's see, what was I thinking about last night? What's been on my mind is breaking patterns and collapsing old programs. I was thinking that last night. Let's see. Okay. So, you know what, the reason why I want to bring that up is because this is now my Ascension energy update. Now, one of the things, number one, I do have a crazy name for and I didn't plan on this video actually being my Ascension energy update, but I did have a crazy name. And the name was Shifts Going Crazy. Now, I got enough names to last all year with this theme, okay? So Shifts Going Crazy, right? This Ascension energy, and it seems like every time I talk about it's so high, blah, 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 blah. Well, it is high, and it's only going to get higher. You got to think about it that way. But the higher it gets, the more it affects us. So in this instance, now, how I was talking kind of about breaking patterns and collapsing old programs, okay? So here's one of the things that I noticed surfacing in my life, and when I talk to other people, I'm noticing this is going on too, and this is kind of how I understand it. This is like the Ascension energy that's happening with all of us. So I started to notice, like in the last month that I've been here in Florida, I've been going through some things. And a lot of the things that I've been going through have been things that are surfacing that I've dealt with previously that I didn't realize was such a problem. I thought that maybe, you know, since I was away from that particular type of situation, that, oh, it's not an issue no more, I'm out of that kind of situation. And so, let's see, and I usually do better by giving examples. So let's use an example of that, and this is just an example. Okay, so let's use an example that maybe you suffered some type of issue, an abandonment issue, or maybe some type of abuse, some type of toxic abuse in a relationship, narcissistic abuse, whatever, right? And let's just say, okay, when you went through that, say it might have been a long time ago when you were little, you got abandoned, or 20 years ago or 10 years ago you were married to someone who turned out to be a toxic and very, very narcissistic or something, right? Now, and you finally, you got out of that, you realize, you know, I don't want to be with this person, or I don't want to be in this situation. And then you have left the situation, changed your timeline, started a different life away from the individual that was causing you to go through certain pains and certain traumas, which gave you certain issues like abandonment. And so now what I'm noticing in this ascension, some of those things are like starting to come full circle, right? Like not that same person is bothering you, not, so say maybe, let's say for instance, narcissistic, like a narcissistic spouse. I had a narcissistic spouse. And there were certain things that happened in the relationship that kind of like threw me for a loop. It was this one manipulation tactic. And with this manipulation tactic, he would, he would use things against me or take things from me to make me be without, or use things against me in order to manipulate me to get me to do, what he wanted, so I wouldn't feel good about myself. Or, okay, so let's just say I had that whole situation. I'm using this purely for an example, okay? I had that whole situation. I got out of that. I had my awakening. I've raised my vibration. I've changed my timelines. Things are looking up, right? Okay, but at the same time, now with this ascension energy, I'm noticing that type of situation has surfaced again, but not in a relationship, okay? Let's just say all of a sudden, someone around me is acting in a certain way that is reminding me of some of the abuse I went through. And so when I say an old program is resurfacing, okay, so what happens is things are resurfacing from the past. Like, that was what I'm trying to say. It's bringing it up, okay? Don't feel like, oh, what is this? Why am I going through this? This is part of the ascension process. No one said it was going to be easy. We have issues that are going to come up. And just because we may have got away from it in some way in the past, like I had also an issue with my mother being abandoned, and every foster mother after that, I felt completely abandoned from. And then I had another mother that I felt really, really close to, like a godmother. And, in a sense, I felt the same thing happen again. And so I'm like, what? I don't get it. And one of my friends pointed out, she was like, yeah, you still had that issue with your mom. It's coming back, that you have to collapse that program now. And so the thing is, these things that we are being programmed with, in the past, in any kind of way, it's now surfacing, right? But now that you're awake, you're in your ascension, your energy is rising, it's surfacing in a way that you will notice it, okay? So you see, like, whoa, okay? Like the first thing, this person said some things, right? Some manipulative things to me, and it totally like took me to PSTD moment for a moment of what I used to go through. But at this time, I was completely aware of what was going on. I was aware. I was like, oh no, this person is trying to manipulate me. They're trying to take advantage of me. And so now, at this point, this is what the energy is doing. It is bringing you, let's see, this whole reality is a mirror to us. You are a mirror to me, I'm a mirror to you. So it's gonna bring up things. So see, as we rise in this ascension, we lowered our vibration to come here, okay? We are infinite beings, immortal spiritual souls that have lowered our vibration just to incarnate on this earth, because the earth is low density, it's 3D form, okay? And so so as we start off lower, the whole goal of the ascension game is to raise it back up, okay? You need to embrace creator God status. You need to start living that status, and that's what it's about. So in order to raise it up and embrace that, we are going to be facing these issues once again. And it's not that, I remember one time I was watching one of Victor Odo's videos. He was talking about how, you'll notice you're going through the same problems. And you'll be like, why am I going through the same thing again? But one thing he pointed out is every time it goes differently. See, even when you're going through the same problem, you're still moving forward. You're facing it in a different way. You're facing it with awareness. You're facing it with knowledge. You're facing it with healing. We're facing it with, now it's time to collapse this program so I can move on with my ascension. And so I thought that was really, really important for me as far as this ascension energy. The other thing that I'm also noticing is, and it goes again with the collapsing of the programs, but breaking belief patterns. Now, I talked about how I took ayahuasca not too long ago, and my last I no two not my last ayahuasca session, but the session before that. Okay, so there's a point when you take ayahuasca in the beginning is you have to pass through a plant elemental, okay, and with this so much I have to go through brief detail, but before you you don't always cross over to another dimension. Sometimes you got to deal with the beginning part, and it depends on the intentions you set. It depends on what issues you have to work with, and it'll show you things, it'll teach you things, it'll help take you back to childhood things and make you realize certain things, and you'll get healed from it. Anyways, in that process, you in the beginning you go through this process where you see all these visions, right? These images, these patterns. It looks like a kaleidoscope, right, of images. And these images, they come to you, and they're shapes, their sizes, their colors, their letters, they're moving things. They're weird, strange things. They're things with slime on it. I mean, it's just like crazy, right? So it looks like these patterns, and it's creative and beautiful, and it's throwing it at you, right? So at the beginning of the plant, it's kind of like giving you goggles, is what I learned. It's kind of like showing you the world in a different way, showing you it with a different pair of lenses, not looking through this natural eye. So when I was seeing these patterns and these numbers and shapes, they had messages in them. You can almost feel them telepathically communicating with you. You're like at one point it was telling me this is going to be uncomfortable for a while, and it was uncomfortable for a while, right? The colors would get bright, and they're conscious. It's like talking to you, right? So I was in this phase where I was in this pattern, right? And I had already crossed over one time to another dimension, but I kept going back to this sequence of working through things. And so there was these patterns, and they was these bright, pretty patterns, but I felt trapped in the pattern, and the patterns kept moving around me, and I felt trapped, and and it got to the point where the plant, they take on personalities, which is strange. And so the plant took me through these patterns, and then the patterns would break apart, and as the pattern would break, I started to float out of the space, and you can see the cracks, right? And then I come back to three thoughts: worrying about my son, worrying about a relationship with a guy, worrying about how I'm going to make money, my job, how I'm going to have income and support myself. Those three issues would show, and I would literally see a show. I would see the guy, and I would see those threes literally, and then the plant would laugh at me and throw me back in the pattern. And I went in the pattern, then it would break away. And then I would feel like I'm floating, like when I crossed over to the other dimension, right? It would feel like I was getting this close. The next thing you know, I thought those three carnal thoughts. The plant laughed at me, threw me back in the pattern. I felt like it was like an hour. I was in these patterns, and I was in these patterns, right? And I'm not going to go into whole detail of everything else that happened. You can join my Ayahuasca Diaries for more details on that. But what I'm trying to say is later, the plant showed me, so it works with you for afterwards, it stays with you, and it showed me what it was trying to show me. Like, look, Simone, these are the things that are holding you back. Worrying about a relationship, worrying about, is your child going to be okay, worrying about money. These are the three patterns that you keep sticking in. These are the patterns why you're out of alignment. These are the patterns why you're not manifesting prosperity or abundance. You're manifesting lack right now because you're stuck in these patterns. These are the patterns that are keeping you from the other side. So it's basically telling me, break those patterns, because once those patterns break open, I'm clear shot to the other side. So that's how it would communicate with you. And so I wanted to share that because this is my Ascension energy update, but a lot of things that happened through that experience, I'm going to be sharing it. Rather it's on, I have my Ayahuasca Diaries. I'm going to have that, what is it? My Patreon account, the Ayahuasca Diaries, but now it is a part of my life. So the Diaries is going to give real detailed, in-depth information, but everything that I learned, it's going to be integrated because this is like the knowledge that was shown to me. And anyways, okay, so back to Ascension energy update. Shift's going crazy, right? So what else I am noticing with this shift? I think that the universe is showing us things right now, you know, in a whole new light, showing us more of ourselves. And, you know, it's getting to the point where another thing I noticed is we're riding this high vibration, right? But let's just say something enters in and a carnal thought, something that doesn't match up with that vibration, you're kicked off of that vibration so quickly, it feels like you're going into a straight depression. So you might have experienced in the last month or so, or coming up soon, is little breaks of where you're feeling disconnected. Not really a full-blown dark night of the soul, but a little bit of a depression because you got off course on the high. So the vibrations are so high, it's not tolerating that. So like me, I've been sitting here feeling like I'm stuck in Florida because things went down and I don't have a car here. Because I don't have a car, I can't get to a job. There's no public transportation. I barely can go get food. And so just because here is so bad and I'm like, why am I stuck? And every day I wake up with how I'm gonna get out of this, how I'm gonna get out of this. Every day I'm in this pattern. And so I felt like I went through moments of just like feeling depressed, wanting to give up my YouTube channel, wanting to just move back to California, stop trying to just go to a regular job and get regular money, because you know the ego has been beating me down. That's another thing I've noticed with this Ascension energy. It's like the ego is intelligent. I want to say artificial intelligence, but it has an intelligence to it. It notices your changes. It notices you raising your vibration. It notices you're having these new experiences. It's also going to sit there and say like, I'm the big guy. I got to do my job. I got to protect her. Look, Simone, this is the past data we're working with, okay? So, number one, yeah, you're trapped in that situation because you knew better. How did you expect? How stupid. Why would you go start an online store? Look at all the supplies you buy. Nobody will ever buy for you. I mean, one night the ego was beating me up and I was like, please stop it. And so it's just like, we have to face the ego in an all new way. We have to understand that this Ascension is now a part of our lives. And you can't look, even if you're going down, going depressed, you're going through something, you have to understand it's part of the process. Like I've been sitting here feeling trapped, wondering how I'm gonna get out of this. And my higher self showed me. I had a communication with my infinite self last night. And it showed me, look, here's the things you need to do. Okay, one of the things that Ayahuasca told me, the very first message she gave me is you are the answer. And so I'm getting to 17 minutes and this thing will not upload. So I'm gonna have to stop. But it showed me things. And that's another thing, is we need to embrace this. We need to be meditating more. Now I know I've been slacking off, and that's one of the reasons. You cannot stay in a negative vibration. You cannot allow things to come in, old thoughts. You have to understand the ego personality is a collection of memories. It's going to bring up past that. It's going to tell you can't do it. That is not your infinite spirit. Your infinite spirit knows you can make it. It knows that this is fine. It knows that no matter your circumstances, no matter how bad it gets, it's always going to be okay. You're infinite. You're an immortal being. That's all you have to do, is begin to embrace that and begin to focus on positivity. Even when when it seems very negative, you just got to look and be like, okay, find one positive thing, and take that positive thing and ride it till you get the next positive moment. Remember, you're manifesting, you're changing timelines moment to moment. So if you can keep every moment positive, feeling happier and happier, as my friend Naya would say, every moment, then you're going to be shifting to the predominant timeline of which you're going to be manifesting positivity. Okay, thank you for watching. Peace and love. Namaste.